I found a positive pregnancy test in my house. But I honestly never thought I'd be writing something like this. But here we are. I, 34F, have been married to my husband, Evan, 36M, for 7 years. Our relationship hasn't been perfect, whose is, but I always believed we were solid. At least, mostly. Looking back now, the signs were there. He'd been acting weird for months, super protective of his phone, working late, showering the second he came home, which he never used to do, and snapping at me over the tiniest things like I'd insulted his ancestors by asking what he wanted for dinner. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for what I found last Thursday. I was cleaning out the bathroom cabinet looking for a new bottle of conditioner, and shoved deep behind the towels was a pregnancy test. A positive pregnancy test. At first, my brain shut down. I literally stared at it like I'd never seen one before. Then the thoughts started to crash into me. It wasn't mine. I'm not pregnant. I haven't been pregnant. Then whose? I thought maybe it belonged to a friend who visited recently. Maybe someone was playing a prank, a sick one. Maybe I was losing my mind. But deep down, in the pit of my stomach, something icy started forming. Something I didn't want to name yet. I sat on the edge of the tub, holding that stupid little plastic stick, feeling the world tilt just slightly off its axis. That was the moment, though I didn't know it yet, when my entire marriage started to unravel. I put the pregnancy test on the counter like it was a live grenade and just stared. My mind kept trying to twist itself into excuses that made sense. Maybe it's expired. Maybe it's from years ago. Maybe it's from my sister when she visited. Maybe it's Evan's idea of a joke. He thinks he's hilarious. He's not. But then I noticed something that made my stomach turn. The test wasn't dusty. It wasn't old. It wasn't even out of the box long enough to fade. It looked fresh. That icy, sinking feeling expanded into full-on dread. When Evan came home later that night, I watched him closely. He had the same routine, drop his keys aggressively, sigh like the world personally inconvenienced him, and immediately head toward the shower. But when he walked past me, I caught a scent I hadn't smelled before, sweet, floral, definitely not unisex body wash. I asked casually, "New shampoo?" He flinched. Actually, physically flinched. Then he forced a laugh so fake it could have been used in a tax fraud commercial. "Oh, yeah, they changed the formula at the gym. Smells weird, right?" I'd been to that gym. They use industrial soap that smells like disappointment and chlorine. Not whatever that perfume cloud was. His voice was too high. His smile too wide. His eyes too shifty. And that test in the bathroom suddenly felt a whole lot less mysterious. Still, I didn't say anything. Not yet. I needed more than suspicion. I needed proof. And unfortunately for both of us, I was about to get all of it. 2 days after finding the test, I finally stopped pretending I wasn't losing my mind and decided to do what any rational, functioning adult would do in my situation. I snooped. Not proud of it, but also not sorry. Evan had passed out early on the couch after a stressful day at work, which I later learned meant he drank too much with his coworkers. Spoiler, only one coworker was present, and she wasn't doing much working. His phone was in his hand. Unlocked. Face down. Like a gift from the universe. Now, I'm not going to lie, my heart was pounding so hard I thought I might actually pass out before even picking it up. But something deep in my gut pushed me forward. I opened his messages. Most were boring. Group chats, memes, random coworkers. Then I saw a thread at the top labeled only with a red heart emoji. No name. No number. Just that stupid little red heart. I opened it. And there she was. She had a name, page, and she had been messaging him all week. But it wasn't the flirty messages that made me go cold. It wasn't even the selfies from her bathroom or the "I miss you" texts. It was this. I bought the test. I'm scared. Call me. Sent the same morning I found the pregnancy test. I scrolled up. More messages. More lies. More confessions of things that made me physically sick. And then, the one that broke me. Don't worry. She'll never find out. She's too busy and too trusting to notice anything. She. Me. That was the moment. The exact second everything clicked together. The weird showers, the cologne, the schedule changes, the sudden coldness, the unexplained expenses, and now, the test. I just sat there staring at his phone, my entire body numb. I didn't cry. Didn't scream. Didn't throw it. I just shut down. Like my brain needed to reboot itself. That night I didn't sleep. I stayed awake listening to him snore, and I swear to God, every breath he took made me angrier. Because now I knew. I had proof. I had everything. And the next day, I would confront him. The next morning, Evan stumbled into the kitchen looking like a hungover raccoon. Hair everywhere, shirt inside out, eyes half open. Morning, he grumbled, like he was the one who had a rough night. I just stared at him over my coffee. The same coffee I'd made for him every morning for 7 years. This morning, though, I didn't hand him a mug. He noticed. Where's mine? I said nothing. Just waited. Let the silence squeeze him. He shifted uncomfortably. What? Why are you looking at me like that? So I pulled out my phone, opened the messages from page, turned the screen toward him, and placed it face up on the table. His face went sheet white. Then red. Then a weird blotchy combination of both. What is this? He asked, voice shaky. I raised an eyebrow. You tell me. He stared at the screen like it was written in ancient hieroglyphics. Then he tried to grab for it. I pulled it back. Nope. You don't get to snatch anything. You get to explain. That's when the lying started. If I wasn't so furious, I swear I'd have laughed. He actually said, and I quote, "Oh, that page? She's just a friend. She sends jokes sometimes." A pregnancy test joke? Really? I just blinked at him. You're telling me your friend bought a pregnancy test and texted you that she's scared? He stuttered, well, I mean, maybe she meant to send that to someone else? People mix up contacts all the time. Right. Because people always accidentally confess pregnancy to married men they send bathroom selfies to. I stayed quiet, letting him flail. He kept going. She's dramatic. She exaggerates. I think she's obsessed with me. I barely know her. This is being blown out of proportion. You're being really emotional right now. Ah, yes, the classic. The "you're too emotional" card. But then, just as he was working himself into a sweat, something happened I didn't expect. His phone buzzed. A text from Paige. Right there on the table. Her name and heart emoji lighting up the screen. I told you I can't hide this much longer. We need to talk. He lunged for the phone like a panicked toddler grabbing a toy. But I already saw it. Everything. His lies fell apart right there in the kitchen. And that was only the start of the meltdown. As soon as he grabbed the phone, he held it to his chest like it was some sacred artifact that would save him from judgment. His voice went squeaky like a 13-year-old caught doing something he wasn't supposed to. Okay, wait, I can explain. Oh, I bet he could. I crossed my arms. Go ahead. Explain why another woman is texting you about a pregnancy test she took in my house. He blinked. Once. Twice. Like he was buffering. Then came excuse number 1. She's confused. She's been under a lot of stress. I think she's making things up to get attention. Uh-huh. Sure. Excuse number 2. She must have snuck into the house when I wasn't looking. Yes. He actually said snuck in. Like she's a ninja with a pregnancy test. Excuse number 3. It's not even positive. Those things are wrong all the time. The line was so dark you could see it from space. Excuse number 4. Okay, fine. Maybe we hooked up one time, but I swear it was an accident. An accident. What did he do? Trip and fall into her repeatedly? Excuse number 5. My therapist said I should explore my emotions. He hasn't seen a therapist since 2018. And then, because apparently we hadn't reached peak stupidity, he blurted out excuse number 6. I thought she couldn't get pregnant. She told me she was basically sterile. My jaw actually dropped. Evan, she works in a daycare. She literally talks about kids every time I've met her. He snapped, well, that's not my fault. Women lie about that stuff all the time. He said it like he was the victim. I sat down because suddenly I felt exhausted. Completely drained. Like every molecule of energy had been sucked out of me. And he just kept spiraling. You don't understand, he whined. She said she loved me and I didn't want to be rude. Oh, God forbid he be rude while cheating on his wife. He paced the kitchen, ranting about how I never listen and I get dramatic and how he didn't mean for any of this to happen. Then get this. He actually tried to turn it around on me. If you didn't nag me so much, I wouldn't need attention from other people. The audacity. The sheer Olympic-level audacity of that man. And just when I thought I'd heard every possible stupid excuse he could invent, the doorbell rang. Once. Twice. Then 3 rapid knocks like someone was frantic. Evan froze. Like a deer in headlights. His face drained of color. He whispered, oh no. And my stomach dropped. Because I already knew who it was. The knocking grew harder, faster, desperate. Whoever was behind that door wasn't leaving. Evan whispered, don't move. Which, of course, made me move immediately. I walked straight toward the front door, and he scrambled after me like a panicked toddler trying to stop a vase from falling off a table. Wait, don't open it. Yeah, that definitely made me open it. And there she was. Paige. She looked exhausted. Red eyes, puffy cheeks, mascara smudged like she'd been crying for hours. Her hands were trembling, one clutching her phone, the other gripping a crumpled piece of paper I couldn't see yet. When her eyes met mine, she froze. Are you his wife? She whispered. I nodded. Evan made a strangled sound behind me like a squirrel caught in a dishwasher. Paige's face crumpled. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. He told me you were separated. He said you were living with your sister. Separated. Living with my sister. Right. While I was literally standing in the house I pay half the mortgage on. I felt something simmering inside me, anger, disbelief, maybe even pity, but I kept my voice steady. How long has this been going on? Before she could answer, Evan lunged between us. Babe, stop, she's lying. She's obsessed with me. I've been trying to get rid of her for months. Paige's eyes widened. Get rid of me? You begged me not to leave you yesterday. He turned beet red. That was a figure of speech. I stepped around him. How long? Paige swallowed hard. 6 months. I felt my knees weaken, but I didn't move. And the test? She held out the crumpled paper, an ultrasound appointment slip. He told me we were starting a family together. He said he wanted a baby with me. He said the 2 of you were done. Behind me, Evan screeched. That was taken totally out of context. Out of context. An ultrasound appointment. Sure. Paige wiped her face. I'm not here to fight. I just thought you deserved to know before things went any further. My heart cracked a little at that. She wasn't the monster. She was just another victim in his web of lies. Then came the final blow. Paige whispered. I'm sorry. I didn't want to be the other woman. I didn't know I was. Anne. I don't feel safe around him anymore. Safe? My eyes snapped to Evan. What does she mean by that? He stuttered again, voice going high and squeaky. Babe, she's exaggerating. But Paige cut him off. He threatened to hurt himself if I left. He told me he'd ruin my life if I told anyone. I can't do this anymore. I felt every muscle in my body go cold. This wasn't just cheating. This wasn't just betrayal. This was manipulation. Lies. Control. Emotional abuse. And suddenly, I didn't know who the hell my husband even was. Evan completely lost it. Like, full cartoon villain meltdown. hands in his hair, pacing in frantic circles, muttering to himself like he was rehearsing excuses in real time and failing miserably at all of them. Okay, everybody just calm down, he shouted, waving his arms like he expected us to dissolve into compliance. Neither of us moved. Paige stood stiffly by the door, clutching her phone like a lifeline. I stood in the center of the room, arms crossed, absolutely done. Evan was spiraling. He pointed at Paige. She's lying. She's literally lying about everything. She's obsessed, she's unstable, she stole that appointment slip. Paige whispered, you texted me the clinic address. He pointed at me. And you, he sputtered, you're taking her side? Your own husband? After everything I've done for you. Everything he's done. I almost laughed. Then he changed tactics, classic Evan. His voice dropped into that fake wounded tone he always used when he wanted sympathy. I can't believe you'd think I'd cheat, he said, lower lip trembling like he was auditioning for a soap opera. I'm hurt, babe. Really hurt. You should trust me. I raised an eyebrow. Should I trust the man who told her we were separated? His face twitched. That was a miscommunication. Or the man who said he wanted a family with her? I was confused. Or the man who threatened her if she left? He stomped his foot. I didn't mean it like that. My voice was ice. Then explain what you meant. He opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. Nothing. Not even a bad lie this time. And then, the cherry on top. He actually dropped to his knees. Literally. Hands folded like he was praying to the gods of manipulation. Babe, please. Please don't do this. I love you. I only love you. She was a mistake. A phase. I thought we were drifting apart. I thought you didn't want me anymore. I felt Paige flinch. I felt my stomach churn. Because somehow, even now, he made himself the victim. Even now, he tried to turn my pain into his tragedy. And then the moment that finally shattered everything. Paige spoke softly, but firmly. Evan, tell her about the cabin. His entire body jerked like somebody shocked him with a taser. No. Nope. We're not, that's personal. That's between us. Tell her, Paige repeated. My heartbeat slowed. My skin went cold. There was something in her voice, something final, that told me this was big. I stared at him. What cabin? He stared at the floor. Evan, I said again, voice low. What? Cabin. He mumbled something. What? He finally looked up, eyes wild, like he'd been cornered. I rented a cabin for us. For me and Paige. For when she had the baby. And just like that, the last pieces of denial in my chest evaporated. He wasn't confused. He wasn't overwhelmed. He wasn't having a crisis. He was building a whole second life. A life without me. A life he assumed I'd never discover. A life he thought he could slide into while I stupidly kept the house clean and the bills paid. The room went silent. Then Paige whispered, voice breaking. I'm sorry. I didn't know until today that you weren't separated. I swear I didn't. I believed her. But Evan? I couldn't even look at him anymore. And that was the first moment I realized. This marriage wasn't just broken. It was ash. The silence after Evan's confession wasn't normal silence. It was that heavy, electrical kind, like right before a storm breaks a tree in half. Evan stayed on his knees, still pretending to cry, but I could tell the performance was wearing thin. His shoulders were too tense. His breathing too uneven. His eyes kept flicking toward the door like he was calculating an escape route. I didn't say a word. Not yet. I just stared at him. And honestly, watching him squirm like that, it was the first moment I'd felt even the slightest bit of power in this whole nightmare. Paige moved closer to me, like she instinctively understood I wasn't going anywhere near him. She whispered, do you want me to leave? I don't want to make this worse. I shook my head. No, you're not the problem here. Evan's head snapped up. Oh great, so now it's 2 against 1? That's fair? Really mature, both of you. He stood up abruptly, wiping non-existent tears, and started pacing again. You're blowing everything out of proportion. A cabin doesn't mean anything. I panicked, okay? I panicked because you're always busy and distant and I cut him off. Don't you dare blame me. He scoffed. Of course. You never take responsibility for anything. Paige let out a sound I can only describe as a heartbroken laugh. Evan, you told me she didn't love you anymore. He rounded on her. And you believe that? Seriously? God, you're so gullible. That's when everything snapped. I stepped between them because he'd taken a step forward that felt aggressive, and my voice came out steady in a way that surprised even me. Get out. He froze. What? Get out of this house. Tonight. He blinked like he couldn't process the words. Then he laughed. This ugly, disbelieving little laugh. You can't kick me out of my own house. It's in my name. I said it quietly, calmly, but it hit him like a slap. His whole face froze. He genuinely forgot. Or maybe he assumed I'd forgotten. You wouldn't, he whispered. I raised a brow. I would. And I am. Sudden events tend to come in clusters, I've learned, because right at that moment someone knocked on the front door. A loud, firm, authoritative knock. Paige and I both stiffened. Evan went white. He whispered, oh God, she didn't. Paige frowned. I didn't call anyone. Another knock. Even louder. This time followed by, Evan Miller? We need to speak with you. He swore under his breath. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. This is all your fault, he hissed at both of us before storming toward the entryway. I exchanged a confused glance with Paige. She whispered, what's happening? I whispered back, I have no idea. But the truth was, a tiny part of me wasn't even surprised anymore. Because with Evan, chaos wasn't an exception. It was a pattern. And as he opened the door, and two men stepped inside with serious expressions. I had the sinking feeling I was about to learn even more about the man I thought I married. Evan barely had the door open before the two officers stepped inside. They weren't aggressive, just purposeful. Serious enough to make my stomach drop. Mr. Miller, one said, "We need to clarify a report filed earlier today." Evan immediately threw up his hands like he was the victim. "Oh my god, this is ridiculous. This is all a misunderstanding. My coworker is obsessed with me, okay? She makes stuff up." Paige and I exchanged a look. Another woman? Another lie? Another mess? The officer continued, completely unbothered by Evan's meltdown. "We just need to confirm you were at your workplace this afternoon around 3 p.m. Evan nodded too fast. "Yes, absolutely. All day. The whole day. Except, I knew that was a lie. He'd come home early. I'd heard him shower. I had the texts." The officer shifted his gaze to me. "Ma'am, can you confirm that?" Before I answered, Evan whispered sharply, "Babe, just say yes." That was it. That tiny whisper of desperation. That assumption I'd protect him. After everything. I stepped back from him. "No, he wasn't at work." Evan whipped around. "Why would you say that?" The officers wrote something down. One nodded politely. "Thank you. That helps. We'll follow up if needed." They left as quietly as they came. The moment the door closed, Evan spun on me, eyes wild. "You just ruined everything. Do you know what you've done?" I stayed calm. "What did you do, Evan?" He opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. Nothing. No lie this time. No excuse. Just the look of someone whose web finally snapped. And honestly, it felt like the beginning of the end. But not for me. For him. For a moment, he just stood there, breathing hard, pacing like some cornered raccoon that suddenly realized the trash can lid won't open anymore. Then, out of nowhere, he slammed his hand on the counter. "Fine. You want the truth? You can't handle the truth." Oh god. He was quoting movies now. That's never a good sign. I folded my arms. "Try me." He ran both hands through his hair and blurted out. "It wasn't my fault, okay? She trapped me." I blinked. "Who?" He froze like he just realized he said the quiet part out loud. "You know, her." "No, Evan, I don't." "Try using a name." He swallowed. Hard. "Paige." I swear the air left the room. "So you did sleep with her." His panic instantly returned. "What?" "No, I didn't say that. You're twisting my words. I just meant she probably bought a pregnancy test and left it here to mess with you because she's jealous of our relationship." "Jealous of what, exactly?" He blinked again. Twice. Like his brain needed to reboot. "I mean, of how strong we are." I almost laughed. Strong? We were practically held together with wet tissue paper and duct tape. He kept talking, scrambling. "She's obsessed. She follows me. She shows up places. She's trying to frame me. That's why the cops came. I didn't do anything." Then, like it was some kind of grand finale, he shouted, "I'm the victim here." Meanwhile, I was standing there with a positive pregnancy test, deleted messages, receipts, a whole human woman named Paige crying in my living room. And he still chose delusional martyr mode. I stared at him for a long moment and finally said, "Evan, victims don't leave pregnancy tests in their wife's bathroom." He opened his mouth, then closed it again. A new expression crossed his face. Not guilt. Not shame. Not fear. Annoyance. Irritation. Like I was bothering him by discovering his cheating. That's when something inside me clicked. Something that had been building for months. This wasn't just a mistake. He wasn't confused. He wasn't sorry. He was exactly who he'd shown himself to be. And I was done protecting him from the consequences. Just as I was processing Evan's meltdown, my phone buzzed. 17 missed calls. All from Paige. I swiped to open the messages and my heart sank. They weren't just texts. They were screenshots, voicemails, and photos. One voicemail started with her shaky voice. "Please. I didn't know how to tell you everything. He's planning to move forward like this without you knowing. I'm scared for myself and I think you need to know all of it before it's too late." I played another one. "You have to check the bank account, the cabin, the appointments, everything." I tried to confront him yesterday and he almost. I don't even want to say. "Please, just look before it's too late." I froze. The cabin. The ultrasound appointment. The transfers. The lies. I realized in that moment that Evan hadn't just been cheating emotionally. He'd been building a secret life that had the potential to completely destroy me financially, emotionally, and legally. I turned to him. His face twisted in irritation. "You're being ridiculous. Why are you looking at me like that? It's just messages." "Just messages?" I looked down at my phone, shaking. "No, Evan. It's not just messages. It's proof. Proof that everything you've done, everything you've lied about, isn't just words. It's actions. It's betrayal. It's manipulation." He stammered. I didn't mean for it to. I didn't." I cut him off. "You didn't mean to what? Lie for months? Cheat? Threaten her? You've been living a double life, Evan. And I have all the evidence." For the first time, he went quiet. Not smug, not defensive, not trying to manipulate me. Just quiet. And in that silence, I knew. I had everything I needed. I could finally decide how this nightmare would end. Once the initial shock settled, I started going through everything Paige had sent me. Bank statements, text threads, emails, receipts. Each piece of evidence painted a picture far worse than I'd imagined. The cabin, booked under his name, weeks before the positive pregnancy test appeared. He'd literally planned a whole other life. Financial transfers, small amounts at first, sneaky withdrawals that made sense only now. He'd been funneling money to her account. Appointments, ultrasounds, doctor visits, even a prenatal vitamin subscription, all arranged without my knowledge. Messages, hundreds of flirtatious, manipulative, and controlling texts. Threats disguised as love confessions. Lies upon lies about us, about his feelings, about his intentions. I felt sick. Part of me wanted to throw up. Part of me wanted to scream at the top of my lungs. And part of me felt strangely liberated. Because for the first time, I could see clearly. I had the full story. I had the proof. And I wasn't going to be gaslighted anymore. Evan tried to interject. Babe, you don't understand. I raised my hand. No. You tried to control everything, lie about everything, and hide everything. You don't get to talk anymore. Paige stayed quiet, but gave me a small sad nod. I realized then she wasn't my enemy. She was another victim of Evan's manipulation. And suddenly, the rage I'd been holding back all night became a calm, determined clarity. I was done doubting myself. I was done covering for him. I was done pretending that he was anything other than who he truly was. I took a deep breath and turned to Evan. This ends now. He looked confused, like I'd just announced we were moving to Mars. What ends? He stammered. The lies. The cheating. The manipulation. Every single thing you've done for months or years. It ends tonight. He laughed nervously. Oh, come on, babe. We can talk about this. I can explain. I shook my head. No. You've had months. You've had opportunities. You've chosen to hide everything, deceive me, and even threaten another woman. There's nothing left to explain. He tried the classic line. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. I cut him off. I placed the evidence on the table in front of him. Screenshots, receipts, the ultrasound appointment slip. You see this? This is reality. Not excuses. Not miscommunications. Reality. And reality is that you've been living a double life. He stumbled backward, trying to grab at the papers. Babe, wait, please, I can fix this. I laughed. Not a happy laugh. Not a bitter laugh. A cold, final laugh. You think you can fix this? You can't fix the person you pretended to be. And I'm done pretending I can forgive it. Paige quietly slipped out of the room, giving me a reassuring glance. I didn't stop her. She wasn't part of this confrontation anymore. Evan went silent. For once, no excuses. No lies. Just the realization that the game was over. And in that moment, I knew something important. The man I married doesn't exist anymore. The man in front of me is someone I've never truly known. I felt a strange calm wash over me. This confrontation wasn't about winning. It was about reclaiming myself. I told him, clearly and firmly. You need to leave. Tonight. Don't come back until you figure out who you are and what you've done. I'm done protecting you from yourself. He opened his mouth, then closed it. Finally, he understood. And as he walked out the door, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Freedom. The days after Evan left were surreal. I moved through our apartment like a ghost, noticing things I hadn't paid attention to in years. The empty cabinet where the pregnancy test had been, the stacks of receipts, little traces of his lies hidden in plain sight. I changed passwords, canceled accounts, froze joint finances. Every text from him went unanswered. Every call ignored. Friends and family rallied around me, but the most unexpected support came from Paige. She sent me screenshots, timelines, and even admitted things about her side that helped me understand just how deep the betrayal went. It was strange learning about your spouse's secret life from the woman he cheated with, but I accepted it. Some nights I cried. Some nights I barely slept. Some nights I walked around our apartment, imagining what life could have been if he hadn't lied to me for so long. But slowly, the anger started to transform into clarity. I could think clearly again. I began planning my future, one where I wasn't living under the weight of his manipulation. I focused on myself, my work, my health, my friends. The apartment became a space for me to rebuild, not a place full of secrets and fear. For the first time in years, I felt in control. Not of him, but of me. And in that calm, quiet reflection, I realized. This wasn't just about betrayal. It was about survival. It was about reclaiming my life. And even though the pain lingered, I knew one thing for certain. I would never let anyone manipulate me again. Looking back, it's still hard to believe everything that happened. Evan wasn't just unfaithful, he was a master manipulator, lying about everything and planning a secret life, while I trusted him completely. I learned some brutal truths. Trust is earned, not assumed. Even when you've been with someone for years, don't ignore your instincts. Red flags are real. The weird showers, the secretive texts, the sudden work emergencies, all those little things mattered. Betrayal isn't just emotional. It can affect your finances, your safety, and your peace of mind. Document everything. Protect yourself. You don't have to forgive to move on. I didn't forgive Evan, and I never will. I don't need to. What I need is to protect my life and my sanity. Support matters. Friends, family, even Paige's honesty, they were all essential in helping me see the truth and survive the chaos. Most importantly, I realized that my instincts were correct all along. I didn't deserve the betrayal, and I don't owe him my protection or understanding. To anyone reading this who suspects infidelity or hidden secrets, trust yourself. Document everything. Protect your boundaries. And remember, you can survive betrayal. You can rebuild. You can reclaim your life. I'm living proof that even after the darkest, most manipulative lies, there's a way forward.